Alright, Space Cadets, if you thought the only thing scarier than a xenomorph was a Peter Pan metaphor stretched thinner than my patience during Comic-Con badge sales, buckle up. Alien Earth. Episode 4 just crash-landed, and I'm here to sift through the wreckage, so you don't have to.
Neon skies, they call my name. Pixel dreams, a cosmic game. Light years of stories in my hand. A raven flies through time and space. A mirror shines a hidden face. Raven's reviews on alien ground. Every word's a pulse, every thought's a sound. Alien Earth, where the stars align. We're living the future, one review at a time. Galaxies.
Hey, Fandom fam. Raven Witchwood here, your resident supermodel, NASA cadet, and professional snark dispenser. Welcome back to Big Bad Fandom Reviews, where we boldly go where no reviewer has gone before, mainly because they value their sanity. Today, we're dissecting Alien Earth Episode 4, an episode so jam-packed with Peter Pan references, I half expected Tinkerbell to pop out and demand royalties. Let's get into it before I start aging in reverse. All right, let's break down what actually happened in Episode 4, Observation. Because if you blinked, you might have missed the plot under all those metaphors. We open with Wendy, our hybrid heroine, waking up with a brand new skill. Because apparently, puberty for prodigy kids means unlocking alien superpowers instead of just bad skin. Meanwhile, the prodigy staff is starting to wonder if putting terminally ill children into adult robot bodies was maybe not the best HR decision. The real star of the episode? The eyeball creature. This thing is like if Sauron and a Furby had a baby, and it's out here demonstrating its power by possessing a sheep. Yes, a sheep. The CGI is so questionable, I thought my streaming service was buffering. The sheep stands up on two legs, and suddenly I'm rethinking my entire relationship with lamb chops. Elsewhere, Nibs is convinced she's pregnant with a baby girl, and reacts violently when Dame Sylvia tries to show her a chart. Because nothing says alien horror like a good old-fashioned medical chart throwdown. We get flashes of Nibs fighting the eyeball alien, but she's not in the mood to talk about it. Honestly, same. Boy Cavalier, our tech bro Peter Pan, is still reading actual Peter Pan to the Lost Boys, who are literally children in adult synth bodies. The show keeps hammering home the question, are these really the kids or just reasonable facsimiles? The answer seems to be, who cares, as long as they keep the metaphors coming. Meanwhile, Dame Sylvia and the rest of the adults are mostly just wringing their hands and wondering if they should have read the fine print on the upload your soul into a robot contract. Kirsch is busy uncovering Morrow's manipulations, and Slightly is being hacked by the Wayland Yutani cyborg. Because what's an alien show without a little corporate sabotage? But let's talk about that final scene, because it's the only thing that actually moved the franchise needle. Wendy, alone, reaches out and communicates with a baby xenomorph. Not just a, hey, what's up, but a full-on psychic connection. The moment is loaded with alien queen energy. Wendy's not just talking to the xenomorph, she's empathizing, maybe even influencing it. Is she the next step in xenomorph evolution? A new kind of queen? Or something even stranger? The show leaves us hanging, but one thing's clear. The franchise is heading somewhere new, and Wendy's at the center of it all. In summary, sheep possession, existential dread, and a psychic girl boss moment with a baby xenomorph. If you were hoping for answers, you'll have to keep waiting. If you were hoping for more sheep, congratulations, you're in luck. let's talk about the episode. Or, as I like to call it, Peter Pan and the Lost Plot Threads. First, the Peter Pan metaphor. The writers didn't just lean in, they swan dived. We've got Wendy, Nibs, Curly, Slightly, Toodles, Smee, and a villain named Morrow who's basically Captain Hook with a corporate badge. Boy Cavalier reads Peter Pan to the Lost Boys, who are literally children in adult synth bodies. I haven't seen this much forced whimsy since that time I tried to explain D&D to a runway coach. Security at the research facility? About as effective as a Magikarp in a desert. Nibs, convinced she's pregnant, don't ask, attacks Dame Sylvia, and security responds with the urgency of a sloth on Ambien. Meanwhile, Cavalier is out here sending hybrids into danger, misquoting famous lines, and generally proving that being a tech genius doesn't mean you can run a lemonade stand, let alone a secret island full of superpowered children. And then there's the sheep. Yes, the alien possesses a sheep, which stands up on 2 legs. The CGI is so bad, I thought my Wi-Fi was glitching. Somewhere, Ridley Scott is weeping into his director's chair. Wendy, our supposed protagonist, is about as compelling as a loading screen. Until that final scene. Her psychic connection with the baby xenomorph is the first time the show hints at something truly new for the franchise. Alien Queen energy? Absolutely. Or maybe she's about to become the xenomorph whisperer. Either way, it's the most interesting thing to happen all episode. The pacing? Glacial. The tension? Non-existent. The Peter Pan references? Relentless. The only thing missing was a cameo from Tinkerbell, but maybe she was busy negotiating her contract for season 2. Final verdict: this episode is a masterclass in how to take a promising premise and drown it in metaphor soup. If you're looking for horror, suspense, or even basic logic, you might want to check The Next Galaxy over. But hey, at least the cinematography is pretty, and Babu Cisse and Timothy Oliphant are doing their best with what they've got. Bless.
Weyland-Yutani, building better worlds.
Speaking of things that actually deliver, let's talk merch. Want to commemorate corporate xenomorphs in business suits? Grab the Corporate Nightmare Fuel tee, because aliens make better employees than most CEOs anyway. Feeling like your consciousness is having an identity crisis? The Wendy's Existential Crisis Club shirt is perfect for anyone questioning their humanity while fighting aliens. And for those who think barefoot tech billionaires are the real monsters, we've got Boy Cavalier's Barefoot Billionaire Club. Because disrupting death while refusing to wear shoes is peak villain energy. Support indie artists, flex your fandom, and distract yourself from the corporate hellscape. Grab yours before Weyland-Yutani declares us all expendable assets. Now, for the real fun, Easter eggs. Because if you're going to sit through 50 minutes of Peter Pan cosplay, you might as well get some nerd cred. The set design is loaded with callbacks to the original Alien films. Look for the xenomorph motifs and retro-futuristic tech in the background. There are hidden symbols and artifacts sprinkled throughout Neverland Island, some of which tie back to earlier episodes and might foreshadow future twists. The sheep possession scene, as cringe as it was, is a nod to the franchise's tradition of body horror and alien infection. Just, with more wool. And for the eagle-eyed, keep an eye on the color palettes and sound cues. They're referencing classic sci-fi tropes and even sneaking in nods to other genre favorites. If you spot a reference I missed, drop it in the comments and claim your honorary synth badge. All right, time to put on my tinfoil tiara and make some predictions. Fandom style. The Peter Pan metaphor isn't going anywhere. So brace yourself for more literary name drops and possibly a flying synth or two. Kirsch and Cavalier are headed for a synth-on-tech bro showdown, and honestly, I'm rooting for the robot. Nib's pregnancy subplot is either a red herring or the setup for the weirdest xenomorph reveal yet. Expect more corporate shenanigans, more questionable security, and at least one major betrayal. Because what's an alien show without a little backstabbing? And if the fan theories are right, we might be looking at a simulation twist, a secret government plot, or a surprise cameo from a Weyland-Yutani lawyer. Place your bets, folks. That's it for this week's Big Bad Fandom Reviews. If you survived the Peter Pan-pocalypse, smash that like button, subscribe for more snark, and let me know in the comments. Which was scarier, the xenomorphs or the sheep CGI? And don't forget to snag your Alien Earth tea, because if you're going to suffer through metaphor overload, you might as well look fabulous doing it. Until next time, keep your synths charged, your metaphors subtle, and your fandom strong. Raven out.